30 years ago, we have a chance for getting a cure. It wasn't that we expect to get a cure. What do you think many parents asked? What is that chance? And in some cases, we had to say, we don't have a cure. We're going to test something out that we've never done before, and the risks are unknown, but maybe it'll make a difference. And maybe it'll make a difference for your child, but it for sure will make a difference for the child perhaps 30 years from now. But I go back, and during that period of time, I mean, this was really just the early days of cancer therapy, whether it be for adults or for kids. And we were seeing the first signals of benefits for the kids. We still weren't seeing anything for the adults. And it was one of the reasons why I actually chose to go into childhood cancer research, was because there was that hint of an effect that was meaningful, but boy, it had a long ways to go. And to see where it is today is just incredible. It is so much more well tolerated, although I think that the kids might tell you differently. But at the same time, the chance of a cure is substantially better, but we still have work to do. This part of the organization, the Benefactors, really emanates from this desire, this intense passion of Sharon's to do something that makes a difference for kids. Having experienced it firsthand with her daughter, Benefactors just gave her energy a place to grow and to do something meaningful that was going to make a difference not only in the research, but also make a difference in the day-to-day lives of the kids undergoing cancer therapy. And I think that what I see this organization doing is not only providing us with the funding, but really that emotional support, basically cheerleading our efforts. And really as a group, we each contribute in different ways. I might develop the new therapy, or the people in our team develop the next new therapy, but it's because of the organization that surrounds us. It's the Sharon Wallers in this world that actually are our champion, always our advocates, always trying to find the next friend to join this effort. And when we're face to face with a mother of a child with cancer, or a father, they're all standing right behind us. They may not physically be there, but they're in the back of our minds thinking about how we're going to do this and why we have to do this urgently, and why we need their help to be able to fill in the gaps that our NIH funding and grants don't yet fill, or to come up with the next new idea that makes it just a bit better moving forward.
My name is Michelle Vaith. I am Brooklyn's mom. Brooklyn is a survivor of childhood cancer. She had pre-B-cell leukemia, and she was diagnosed at 2.5 years old. When Brooklyn was diagnosed, I knew very little about childhood cancer. It's not something that only happens to a few kids a year. I mean, it happens a lot more often than I knew. Upon absorbing all that information at the hospital, it was really hard to take in, because you're talking about a little girl who's 24 pounds, and they're telling me what's going into her body and when and how much and over how many years, and that was very shocking. I do remember one day I was at the hospital. We were there for treatment. We'd go, Monday through Saturday, every single day. We'd go from like 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and have treatment, and just, really sad and stressed. And this mom came in to tour the hospital. They had done some updates since this child had gone through cancer treatment at like 4 years old. And she was like, 16 or 17 years old. She had her school's like basketball jersey on. She was clearly like a strong, athletic, healthy girl. And her mom told me she had been through the same treatment, at 4 years old. And I just like that just, it was so great to see, so hard to see, but I couldn't imagine we'd ever get there. But moments like that were just so hopeful, because you just want to see an example of someone who's been there and done it and survived. And I'll never forget, the mom said to me, she's like, I know you think you're getting her through this, but she's getting you through this. And that resonated with me throughout the whole cancer treatment. Brooklyn's attitude and just willingness to get up and play and be a kid, after everything she was going through, if she felt an ounce of good in her body, she would just be like, let's play Barbies, let's go play with stuffed animals, let's go take a walk. And I always thought about that moment with that mom who told me, that your kid's the one getting you through this, and it was so true. It's just amazing how resilient Brooklyn was throughout everything.
The one thing I can tell you today is that by giving chemotherapy, we can cure kids, but these kids are going to be faced with long-term side effects in many instances, certainly not all, but in many instances, And so we have to figure out a new paradigm, a new shift in the way we're doing things, no longer relying on chemotherapy. And so where I see the next 30 years going is to find cures without chemotherapy. And I hope that we can contribute to that in our lifetime in the not too distant future. So that's where I see us going next. We can all be proud of the fact that we have cure rates that approach 95% in some types of cancer, but we got to do it a different way. We just can't say that's good enough.
When Brooklyn was first diagnosed, she was, immediately sent to surgery and sent inpatient for a week or more. And when we were in the hospital, a nurse came in and she had like a tray of beads, and she explained to us these beads are for a program called Beads of Courage. And each bead that you're gonna get today is because you've done something hard towards your childhood cancer, treatment to get better. And so she came and she gave us the very first beads, which we have with Brooklyn's name on them. So she sat there. I have a picture of the two of them stringing this, first set of beads. And this star bead is for her first surgery to get a PICC line put in at that point. And then a bumpy bead. And the bumpy beads are what they give you when you've had like an extra hard day. So something really difficult has happened, so I'm gonna just choke up again. I haven't counted, but I mean there's thousands, there's more than 1,000 for sure. Every color bead or every type of bead is for a different purpose. The rainbow, the square rainbow ones, those are for physical therapy. So, the reason we found out Brooklyn had cancer is she couldn't walk anymore. Her legs would shake and she'd fall down. And so she had to have a lot of physical therapy throughout her time in treatment. Yellow, those are for overnight hospital stays. So you'll see periods of time that we stayed overnight in the hospital for days and days. And the most prominent beads are the white beads. So the white beads are for chemo. So every time that she had a dose of chemotherapy, she got a white bead. It's a good reminder of what we all kind of did together and just how valuable life is.
Benefactors have done something more than support the research. They've also thought about how does this child get by day? How do we make it a bit easier for the kid undergoing this therapy after the diagnosis? And so the benefactors have always reserved some of that funding really just to make the day a bit easier, whether it be through PlayStations or whether it be computers, whatever it is, they've also thought about the child, him or herself. It's that combination of research for the future and hope for the future and getting through the day. And it's that combination and the people that are part of this community and led by the Wallers, it's been phenomenal and we've been so proud to be part of their group. And I have to say, my wife and I being part of their family.
I bet 30 years ago this string would have been longer. I bet there would have been more, more bumpy beads, more difficult days. There definitely would have been more yellow, a lot more hospital stays. And 30 years from now, I wish there were no beads. That's the ultimate dream. But if there were, just fewer, cut it in half, cut it in a quarter, how can we do this just faster and easier and in a less painful way?
How important, the Wallers have been, the benefactors have been, is provided us with the funds, to test out new ideas, and it's provided us with a community that's been so supportive. It's immeasurable, the impact on the work that we do day to day. As you can imagine, there are some pretty sad days, that occur as an oncologist, and to have this community to surround you and to keep supporting you and pumping you up and pushing you on.
So today, Brooklyn is a very healthy 8-year-old. She's survived cancer. She's survived a pandemic. She's gone through a lot in her life, but she's extremely resilient. To the Benefactor Circle, I would just say thank you. 30 years ago, the chance of survival for my daughter would have been way less than it is today. I'm grateful every day for people like you who have, spent the time and the energy and collected, donations and funded all of the research that has happened over the last 30 years. It's been, incredible to see my daughter go through treatment and be able to make it, and because of You know, the people and the research before her, I was able to feel at points very confident that she was going to make it through her treatment. And, you know, as a parent with a very young child going through cancer treatment, like, that is all you really need to know, is that people have made it possible and research has made it possible for my child to survive. And so it's working. I mean, more kids are surviving than ever before. The treatments are getting better. We have a ways to go, but they're definitely getting better. And the confidence that parents like me can have when their kids are diagnosed is a lot higher today than it was 30 years ago. It's just a huge comfort as you go through the cancer treatment.
The one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to tick off that Sharon Waller, because she'll come after you. You know, she is committed to making childhood cancer a memory.